What's up everybody, KD3 here, and it looks like I'm not the only one that has concerns about Persona 3 Reload. So it looks like a couple of YouTubers over the past week have uploaded videos that explain their concerns for the game. I have not seen these yet, so I would like to see what they have to say regarding Persona 3 Reload, and maybe I learned something new. But right now, I'm very satisfied with the direction the game is going, and I don't really have any complaints regarding it. So maybe I'm missing something. That's why I want to watch this today. So right now we're going to start with Nam's Compendium. He's one of my favorite YouTubers. Without him, I would have never found out about SMT Devil Survivor, one of my favorite games of all time, and my absolute favorite game on the 3DS. So shout out to Nam's Compendium for that. Anyways, let's get into what he has to say regarding Persona 3 Reload. Let's go.
Today's video is sponsored by Arc System Works. With the holiday season approaching, this is the first time since, I want to say, Persona 5 when I've been legitimately this excited for an Atlus game to come out. Oh, and I don't mean Persona 5 Royal, I mean Persona 5. It's not that I haven't cared about Atlus's more recent output, but there hasn't been anything that's truly captured my attention as much as Reload has. Believe it or not, Persona 3 is a pretty significant game to me, despite
reinforcing the fact that Tactica was just completely irrelevant because of the Reload announcement.
the last thing I want is for this absolute classic to be tainted by a remake of way lesser quality. Not to show my gray hairs too much, but I was a part of that camp that thought this game never really needed a remake. Call me old-fashioned all you want, but there was nothing that I found to be particularly wrong with the original version of.
That's actually crazy to me, because the first time I played Persona 3, like, I absolutely loved the game, but I didn't think it was perfect in any manner. Like, even though you couldn't control your party, I was easily able to look past that because I was like, oh, they're individuals, so that's fine. But I never really said there was nothing wrong with it. Like, the game is clearly flawed. I don't understand how someone could play Persona 3. Look, I love that game. It's my favorite. But I don't understand how you can look at that game and be like, there's nothing wrong with it. There was plenty wrong with Persona 3. That's why this remake is being made in the first place.
This game, but I guess PS2 games are just too outdated for some people. Since there isn't really much I can do to stop this remake from happening, I've just been trying to keep an open mind about this one. I've been looking at Persona 3 Reload less as a replacement for the original game, and more so as a companion piece. It's this mindset that's allowed me to stay more optimistic than I otherwise would have, because longtime viewers are well aware about how I usually feel about this stuff.
I think that's actually a healthy mindset to have. That's actually perfect, because this game is going to be so different. Like, I was telling my friends this when Resident Evil 4 remake came out. I love how different Resident Evil 4 remake is, because it still gives me a reason to play the original. Because the original and the remake are so different from each other that I have an excuse to play them both. And that's how I feel about this too. It looks so different. My experience with this is going to be so different. I can play this. I can play Fez. I can play Portable. So when I was also concerned about Final Fantasy VII remake, but then I was like, oh wait, this is pretty much a different game now. So I still have a reason to play OG Final Fantasy VII. I think that's great for stuff like this. But when it comes to people thinking there's nothing wrong with Persona 3, nah, the gray hairs. Actually, I don't even think that's gray hair showing. I just think that's like that's just straight up blindness. There's to say there's nothing wrong with Persona 3. Like, if it's perfect in your eyes, you know, kudos to you. Like, I love that game too. I absolutely love it, but I'm not gonna sit here and lie to myself.
That this was a bit of a tangent, but I just wanted to give a bit of context as to where I stand on the idea of a remake. But with all that said, it's safe to say that I'm pretty happy with what we've seen of the game so far, but I'd be lying if I didn't acknowledge that there were some concerns lingering in the back of my mind. A lot of new information about this remake has surfaced since my original video covering the announcement trailer. We've got to see a good chunk of gameplay, the English voice cast has been revealed, and for the past few months, we've been getting a consistent string of trailers. The marketing is in full swing, and because of this, there's a lot to dissect and get excited for. However, there's still a part of me that feels a little skeptical about all this. I don't know, this game just looks a little too good to be true. There's gotta be some fucked up Final Fantasy VII Remake tier change hiding in there somewhere we just don't know about yet.
That was my biggest concern. If you watch my Persona 3 Reload or my Persona 3 concerns video. I'll post it in the top right. But I said if they change any story aspect about this game, specifically the way the game ends, I'm going to be livid. The ending is the main reason why 3 is my favorite over all the others. And if they change it, it defeats the premise of the entire game. They better not touch that ending. This isn't like Final Fantasy VII Remake. That game needs a new ending because, in my opinion, the ending to Final Fantasy VII was not satisfying. It wasn't like bad, but it wasn't a satisfying ending by any means. 3's ending is perfect. It symbolizes what the game is all about. And if they change that,
I've really come to appreciate the unique qualities Persona 3 has compared to the rest of the series. Flawed for sure, but it's nothing that I feel as though needed to see a major overhaul. However, I'm clearly in the minority with this one, since P3R is attempting to appeal to the more recent fans, with core mechanics taken right from Persona 5. And you know what? I've got nothing wrong with this in theory. Persona 5 has the strongest core mechanics in the series. It strikes the
absolutely. To disagree with this is pure delusion.
perfect balance in terms of elemental variety, and Baton Pass adds some much needed complexity to the gameplay. I'm more than okay with these systems being implemented into Reload, but what I'm really afraid of is seeing some of Persona 5's crappy design rear its ugly head. For as polished as Persona 5's core systems are, the game is baby easy. Royal especially suffers from a lack.
I was also concerned about this. I don't want the game to be too easy, but then again, even if it is, I won't lose sleep over it.
Theurgy attacks are rubbing me the wrong way. Theurgy attacks are a character's unique special attack that they can perform once they fill up a meter. They're kind of like limit breaks, and from what I've seen of them so far, I can't quite say I'm a fan. It's a very typical RPG feature, and from what I've gathered from the trailers, they seem to be super overpowered. What I'm concerned about is how strong they'll be against bosses. Like, I can imagine some of the Tartarus fights being completely trivialized through these, which wouldn't be very satisfying. What sounds better, demolishing an enemy through good strategy and building the right team, or winning because you just went into a fight and spammed limit breaks?
Yeah, he's absolutely right about this one. This was kind of unavoidable in my opinion, just because this is what most people like. It's going to have that super flashy gameplay. And yeah, sleeping table is probably going to get bodied by your Theurgy attack. Oh my god. When I saw that Armageddon was still in the game, I knew it was a wrap, man.
There were 3 separate versions of Persona 3, all of which have their own exclusive content to set them apart. While it would have been nice for Reload to include content like the Answer and the female protagonist from Portable, that always sounded like a bit of a pipe dream to me. Like, these aren't just small additions to the game. The Answer on its own is a nearly 20-hour long epilogue from the original story. Plus it's bad, so I don't even know why you'd want it.
Thank you. How many times do I have to say it? The Answer is garbage. Why do you want that trash back? When I saw people complaining about the Answer not being in the game, I was mind blown because I was pretty sure it was universally agreed upon by the internet that it was trash. And when people found out it wasn't in Reload, everyone just all of a sudden did a 180. I love the Answer now. No, you don't. You know what? You were probably just finding something to be mad about. Look, I want the Answer back too, but not this Answer. It needs to be completely remade from the ground up. This will not slide in 2023. It was unacceptable in whatever year this came out, 2007 or whatever. I don't remember. It's unacceptable now. And regarding his other concerns, he fears the game will be too much like Persona 5. That's a very common one that I'm hearing. It's definitely taking a lot from Persona 5. The main character not being able to use multiple weapons is not something I even noticed. And while that does kind of suck, I can let that go. I'm not going to lose sleep over that. Tiredness, I already knew tiredness was going to go because most of the player base hates the tiredness mechanic. I love it. I just wish they did something like tying the tiredness mechanic to a higher difficulty. Like, let's say you play on hard mode, or maybe not hard mode, like the hardest difficulty. On the hardest difficulty, they bring back tiredness. That would be amazing. That would make it more of an exciting playthrough compared to the other difficulties. So I thought something like that would be really cool. But Them removing tiredness entirely was what I predicted. They went gung ho on it, and I'm not surprised. Most people hate it, and I get why. It can be annoying. Even though, to be honest, in my opinion, you don't like once you get past like the beginning of the game, tiredness doesn't become that much of an issue.
But it does suck that we are losing out on the FemC. Her exclusive content is honestly better than what the normal route has to offer in most cases, and part of me hoped that it was going to be implemented into Reload in some way, but unfortunately that's not the case. It sort of makes sense, I guess, given that Atlus ported P3P to modern platforms earlier this year. While it sucks that we are losing out on some of this content, I think completely boycotting this remake because of it is a little too reactionary.
Yeah, he's absolutely correct. Anybody that refuses to buy the game because FemC wasn't in it was not a Persona fan in the first place. I'm not saying that it wouldn't be cool to have FemC back because she's a great character, but the fact that she's not here should not be the end all be all. That's the silliest thing. Who knows? Maybe she'll get her own game. Did you ever think about that? Maybe Atlus gives her own game. And that would kind of, I don't know how that'd go, because that'd mean they'd have another excuse to get another $70 out of you.
Like, I get that it's disappointing to see, but from the looks of it, there's a lot of work being done to the main campaign to more to make up for it. This was never going to be some super ultimate Persona 3, super ultimate Persona 3, super ultimate Persona 3.
One thing I forgot to mention is when he was talking about the late night events and like the hangout events with the characters, he was talking about how since this is a new team, he fears that the characters may be too one note. I don't mind that too much, but my concern with that is like, because I love these games and you know they have trophies. I love to go for the trophies and I love to get that platinum as fast as I possibly can. So I'm concerned that there won't be any incentive for somebody like me to do those events, because I saw a screenshot and the rewards you get for hanging out with the characters, you know, some people will say the event is the reward in itself. And if that works for you, that's cool. But for me, I'm trying to get trophies. Like, I love the characters and I'll experience them on another playthrough or on YouTube. But if the rewards for hanging out with them are not good, then I probably won't be spending my time doing those activities. But that concludes Nam's concerns videos. There's one more. And if it doesn't make this video too long, I'll probably try to squeeze some of my commentary from the other video in there too. Here's the other one from Cameron, all one word. So let's see what he has to say about Persona 3 Reload.
Persona 3 Reload is going to be an assload of fun, but even though I'm definitely playing it on day one, I'm like 90% sure I'm going to regret it. If you give me a hot second, I'll tell you why.
Shout out for the New Japan Pro Wrestling t-shirt, like if you're a fan of New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Okay, so to make a short non-story even shorter, my big concern with Persona 3 Reloaded is that I'll have a blast, beat the game, maybe do another playthrough, and then move on with my life. Sounds good, right? Well, yeah, with any
That's my biggest concern too. Every time I finish Persona, I be getting so sad, man. I'm like, damn, it's over.
other game, sure, but I'm gonna be pretty PO'd or, you know, pissed off if a year or two go by and Atlus comes waltzing in with a so-called brand new version of the game that's only like 30% different.
Same. Always a very common concern. They do not add enough content to justify charging you. Oh my god, imagine if Persona 3 Reloaded Platinum, I don't know.
Super Ultimate Persona 3.
Like, it'd be one thing if Royal just had the extra dungeon content like Will Seeds and all that, but the fact that it added a good chunk of story made it feel like you were missing out if you skipped it, and that's really lame in my opinion. It's fine for Persona 4 Golden, because it felt like something that just sort of happened as opposed to a long-term plan, although maybe it was and I'm just naive. But the key is, Persona 4 Golden at least didn't feel like a cash grab. You can't say the same thing about Persona 5 Royal on the other hand, though. In fact, I'd even go as far as to say that it makes the base version of Persona 5 feel like an unfinished beta of Royal. And honestly, I don't even care that I paid.
Okay, that part I don't really agree with. I feel like Royal, like the third semester is amazing, but it does feel like a weird thing to happen right after you take down a god. My issue with vanilla P5 is that, or P5 in general, is that its story it's literally just P4s, just with a different type of spin on it. And So it's in Royal, it's weird. It's like, okay, we just took down a god that's controlling everything. You assume the game is over, right? Nope. That was my issue with those, but I'm not losing sleep over that.
Look, I don't care if we get the answer and female protagonist later on as paid DLC. That's fair to me as long as the price isn't insane. But if Atlus comes out with Persona 3 Reloaded in a few years, I'm gonna be incredibly disappointed. Not because I'm worried about paying for the same game twice, because let's be real, I'm playing it on Game Pass anyway, but because I don't want the experience.
W. If you know that Atlus is gonna do something like this, you need to just play the initial game on Game Pass and then maybe buy the better version for whatever price they charge down the line. I'm telling you, because this one's gonna be $70, the new version's gonna be $70, and I'm not trying to pay $140. That's before taxes.
Or sorry, dingai.
Hopefully Persona 3 Reload is the only version of the game's main story we ever see, but if Atlus pulls another Persona 5 Royal on us, then I'm not gonna do anything at all, because I mean, what can I do? If you got a kick out of my incoherent rambling, though, then you should check out that video I made with Chris Hansen talking about the Persona 3 female protagonist, Diddling Ken. You'll excuse me there, I gotta go get back to cranking videos out after my little...
We're not watching that. Anyways, that was this guy's rant, and his concern is completely valid. We probably are going to get another version of Persona 3 Reload, and the reason they keep doing it is because you guys keep buying it. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to buy them both because I'm part of the problem. But right now, I'm probably going to get Reload on Game Pass because I do not want to pay almost $80 for it. And I'll probably pay for the new version that comes out. Because paying 140, like I said, 140 before tax. So I'm going to end up paying 160. And I don't want to do that. You know what I can get for $160? Come on now. Anyways, yeah, that's a wrap when it comes to these concerns. Both people had legitimate concerns. Noms were kind of weird, especially that first one where he's like, yeah, I'm showing my gray hairs. I don't think it's gray hairs. I just think I don't know what to call it. Stubbornness, strangeness. I don't know. But yeah, that's it. The concerns are valid, but I still think Persona 3 Reload is going to be a great game regardless.